Hello students, we will discuss about experiment number 5, that is the specific rotation of cane sugar solution. So first of all, we'll discuss how we prepared the solution. So first of all, what we do is we take the crystals of sugar, we put them in this, and of course we convert it into the powder form. So then this powder is taken here. This is a measuring device. I can measure the amount of sugar to be taken for this solution. For example, in this case I take it 20 grams. So now what I do is this 20 gram solution is put in this canonical flask. So I have this flask here. I will put this in powder here, and of course we rinse it properly. After we believe that this powder is fully dissolved, then what we do is we put this solution form into this measuring flask. So suppose I want to make a concentration of solution, say 20 grams in 100 cc. So at this time you see this level of the water is somewhere around between 60 and 70. So I'll pour more water and make it say 100. So now my solution is ready. What we do is we do this experiment in two sets. That means I have two polarimeter tubes. I have already discussed about the working of polarimeter tube with you. So I have two polarimeter tubes with me. One in which I have put the water for taking the reference readings, and another one in which I have put the sugar solution which we have prepared already. So these two polarimeter tubes are ready for the performance of the experiment. Please do remember, one with the water for the reference reading and another one with the sugar solution which we prepare something like this. Now as far as the experimental setup is concerned, I have already shared two videos with you in which the theory and working, operators details, etc. Have been discussed. What we have here is we have a sodium lamp. So we give the sodium lamp supply through this sodium lamp transformer. What it does is it converts 220 volt DC to 470 or 480 volt operating voltage, and this sodium lamp, which is having composition of argon, neon and sodium, initially it gives me somewhat like reddish or violet light, and after complete evaporation takes place, after a couple of minutes it starts giving me the yellow light which you can see here. So this is how the light from the sodium lamp comes. Please do remember the wavelength of this light is 5893 angstrom. The sodium light is a doublet source. That means it gives me two wavelengths, 5890 and 5896 angstrom. So the average value becomes 5893 angstrom. So as far as this experiment is concerned, this is the major apparatus. We call it as polarimeter. What we do here is we initially put this polarimeter tube somewhere here. Please do remember the shape of this tube is very interesting. You see there is a small hump here. This hump is taken by design so as there is no bubble in the path of the light which we need to propagate through this. So what we do here is we put the polarimeter tube with water here. As far as this device is concerned, here we have a polarizer, then we have half shade plate, then of course this light which is coming from the sodium light, it is passing through the polarizer, then of course the half shade plate, and from here it enters into the polarimeter tube, and somewhere here I have the analyzer, and I can actually rotate the position of the analyzer to fix any of the desired shapes in which I am interested. If you have seen my earlier videos, I have discussed with you that we can have different shapes as an output. Say for example, I can have complete dark output, I can have half bright, half dark, and of course I can have other way around, complete bright, and so on and so forth. So any of these 4 shapes I can see on my screen. Now what we do is, I have already put water in the polarimeter tube, and this water is used to take the reference reading. Why reference reading? Because water is optically inactive. That means it doesn't rotate the path of plane polarized light. So the moment light enters, the scenario is something like this. Say this is the source, this is polarizer, and this is half shade polarimeter, and this is the tube. In this tube, at this particular point of time, I have put water. So the moment this light passes through this, because water is optically inactive, so it doesn't do anything with the incoming component of the light. So whatever composition I have, it is passing through this tube without any rotation. So that means I can take the reference reading. So reading we take somewhere from here. I'll try to show you, if probably we can show you how the screen looks like. I have separately discussed the composition of the screen with you in my earlier video as well. So I have a scale something like this. That means I have the main scale, and then I have a vernier scale. So in main scale, suppose I have some readings, say 260 to say 270. So between 260 and 70, say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 divisions. So if there are 10 divisions, that means one main scale division is equivalent to 1 degree. And in the vernier scale, say this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So suppose in the vernier scale, I have 10 divisions. So I can calculate the least count, which is nothing but one main scale division divided by number of vernier scale division. One main scale division here is 1 degree divided by 10. That means this is 1 by 10 degree. So, and accordingly one can calculate the reading. I have discussed the detail in my earlier video how you do that. So suppose with the water my reference reading comes out to be say 80 degrees. Now what I do is I take off the polarimeter tube containing water and replace it with the one in which the sugar solution is kept. So I put this tube having sugar solution, and then again look for the same composition which I have seen with the water. So suppose with the water I had taken the reading for this composition, half bright, half dark. Now because I have replaced water with the sugar solution, and sugar solution is optically active, which means that it can rotate the path of plane polarized light. So if it rotates the path of plane polarized light, what happens is something very interesting. You see, suppose initially I don't put the sugar solution here. So when I had taken the reading with the water, so scenario was something like that. Suppose the light coming from the glass plate and the quartz, it was making same angle with the optic axis, and consequently I was having, say, some composition on the screen. Now because I have added sugar solution, so the sugar solution, what it does is it rotates the path of plane polarized light. So earlier, if the component of light was like this, now it will be rotating something like that. That means the angle will be different for the glass plate and for the quartz component. So consequently, what happens is, if initially my this composition was recorded for water, say giving 80 degree, now at 80 degree I will not see the same composition. So I will see something different. So in case I want to get the same composition for the sugar solution also, for getting same composition for sugar solution, what I have to do is I have to rotate the analyzer. So what I do is I rotate the analyzer. That means I get the same composition, say half bright, half dark at new value. Say this new value is 100 degree. So that means my rotation will be equal to 100 degree for sugar solution minus 80 degree for water. So my amount of rotation will be 20 degree. It will not be precisely 20 degree, it will be something like 20.1 or 2 depending upon what is the least count. But as a reference, I am saying, say this is your value for this angle of rotation. Now what we do is we calculate the specific rotation alpha, and this alpha is nothing but, it is calculated as theta divided by L into C, where theta is angle of rotation, L is length of polarimeter tube, in this case this is 2 decimeter, and C is the concentration of the solution.